1 week before my birthday, my 3 children slid a life agreement across the table, coldly smiling, as if I had no choice. They didn't know I still owned a 720-acre ranch, held $5 million in a trust, and had a plan that would erase the smug smiles off their faces. My own children slid a paper across the table and told me to sign away my 720-acre ranch or be left with nothing. The house where I raised them was reduced to a line that said I could only live there on borrowed mercy. In that moment, I remember the days in uniform, standing on a field with 300 soldiers waiting for my command. Back then, I never surrendered. I felt the same fire rise again. I held back my tears and stayed silent. The very children I trusted and gave all my love to now turned against me. They thought I would bend. They did not know what was coming next. They slid the document toward me like it was a casual thing, a simple errand, one signature, just a formality. They said across the top of the page, in bold blocky type, were the words Property Transition and Succession Agreement, Salt Creek Holdings, and just like that, the place I had lived for 42 years, the land my late husband and I worked from dawn to dusk, and the home where I raised all 3 of them was being handed back to me with conditions. The part that hit the hardest wasn't the technical language or the bold lines about transferring full authority. It was one sentence near the bottom. It read, the occupant, Lorraine Adair, may remain on the premises and the guest quarters contingent on behavior and mental clarity. I felt my fingers tighten. Guest quarters contingent on behavior, mental clarity. They never said it out loud, but it was all there in legal ink. Travis was the one who spoke first. He always was the boldest, the most confident. We just want what's best for the ranch. Mom, you're not getting any younger, and it's time we take over the heavy lifting. This gives you security, stability. I stared at him. Belinda leaned forward, her voice sugary and low, like I was a fragile animal about to spook. It's not about pushing you out. You'll still be here, of course, in the little house by the Westfield. That's where the sun hits best in the mornings. You've always liked that view. Jenna didn't say anything at all. She just sat there, hands folded neatly, watching me like a teacher waiting for a student to obey. I didn't speak either. Instead, I let my eyes move slowly from one face to the next. My children, my blood, the same people I had driven to school in the snow, nursed through broken bones and heartbreaks, fought for when their teachers said they couldn't do better, and now they were here, dressed like professionals, like strangers, and all they wanted was my signature. The silence stretched until even Belinda's smile began to twitch. Finally, I picked up the pen, not to sign, but to click it once, twice, 3 times, then I set it down. I see, I said, my voice even so, this is what it comes to. Travis exhaled through his nose, a sound somewhere between relief and annoyance. No need to drag this out, Mum, it's just business. It's the responsible thing. Business. They had taken my life's work, my marriage, my memories, my sweat, and reduced it to a spreadsheet and a power grab. I looked down at the table, then back at them. I won't sign this, I said. The silence returned, but this time, it felt colder. Travis sat back, jaw tightening. You'll lose everything if you don't. Belinda tried again. There's no need for drama. But I had already stood up. You've made your position clear. I said, now let me make mine. I walked out of the room without looking back. The papers stayed on the table, and so did the 3 of them. I made it to the back porch before the shaking started, not from fear, not even from anger, but from the weight of it, the shock of realizing that love, real love, might never have been enough out there. The land was quiet, just the soft rustle of cottonwoods and the distant calls of hawks circling the hills. I had spent a lifetime tending that land, planting fences, repairing old pipes. Ghost burying livestock when winter took too much. In uniform, I used to stand in front of soldiers and issue commands without a quiver in my voice. I managed million-dollar supply chains and evacuated convoys under fire, but nothing in my military life prepared me for the moment your own child looks you in the face and tries to steal what you built while smiling. They thought I would bend. They thought I would be too tired, too lonely, too sentimental. They had no idea what they had just awakened. If you've ever been pushed to the edge by your own blood, then you know the moment where sorrow turns into steel? Let me tell you what happened next, because I didn't just walk away from that table. I walked into a fight, a quiet one, a smart one, a fight I didn't start, but one I was damn sure going to finish. I stayed out on that porch until the sun dipped behind the far hills. The wind picked up just enough to rattle the tin roof above me. My coffee had gone cold in my hands, but I held onto the mug like it was the only thing keeping me grounded inside the house. I could still hear muffled voices. They hadn't left yet, probably still sitting around my kitchen table, strategizing, waiting for me to change my mind, waiting for me to fold they were wrong. I walked slowly down the porch, steps past the flower beds I had replanted by hand last spring, past the barn I helped rebuild after the storm of '09. I followed the fence line all the way to the gate and leaned against it, looking out over the land. The western pasture had turned gold in the early light, horses grazed in clusters, heads low, tails flicking gently. The silence was sharp. I had given my life to this land, not in some metaphorical way. I meant it literally. I had hauled hay bales with a busted back. I had patched roofs in sleet and poured feed in blizzards. This wasn't just a property. This was sweat, muscle bone. This was home, and now the people I brought into this world wanted me to sign it away like a gym membership. I don't know when it started to happen, the shift. Maybe it was when my husband passed, or maybe it was long before that, the slow drip of entitlement, the soft erosion of respect. I used to think they were just busy, distracted, stressed, but now I saw it clearly. They had been planning this together. That was the part that hurt more than anything, not just the betrayal, but the unity in it. They had moved as one like a pack. While I stood alone, I spent most of that night in my study. I didn't sleep, I didn't cry, I just sat there going over every conversation from the past year, every offhand comment, every veiled suggestion. It all made sense now: the strange visits, Jenna asking if I had updated my will, Belinda suddenly offering to manage my mail, Travis pushing to have me sit down and think about the future. It wasn't concern. It was strategy. They thought I wouldn't notice, or maybe they thought I had started slipping.